You know that little glowing engine light on your dash? Yeah, it's more than just an annoyance. It's your car trying to send you a message. And one of the most common messages it sends is the dreaded P0420 code. Now, it sounds super technical and intimidating, but what if I told you it's actually a puzzle that you can solve? Today, we're going to decode P0420, figure out what your car is really trying to tell you, so you can fix the right problem without wasting a ton of money.
So, you've seen the light, you pulled the code, and there it is, P0420. But this isn't just some random error. Your car's computer is telling you a story about its health, and our job right now is to learn how to read it.
So what's the story here? Well, officially, the code means catalyst system efficiency below threshold, bank 1. Okay, in plain English, that means your car's main computer thinks a really critical part of your emission system is failing its performance review. And that bank 1 part, that just tells us which side of the engine the problem's on, which is super helpful for V6 or V8 engines, but really, the core issue is the same for pretty much everyone.
But before we can find the culprit, we need to know the layout of the crime scene, right? So let's meet the key players in your car's emission system and see how they're supposed to work together when everything's running smoothly.
All right, the main character in this whole drama is the catalytic converter. And its job is, well, it's pretty fascinating. It's like a little chemistry lab right inside your exhaust pipe. It takes all the genuinely nasty stuff coming out of the engine, and using a special coating of precious metals like platinum, it magically transforms it into harmless things like water and carbon dioxide. It's basically your car's own personal air purifier.
So how does the car's computer even know if this little lab is doing its job correctly? Well, it hires two tiny inspectors, the oxygen sensors. You'll hear them called O2 sensors. Their only job all day long is to sniff the exhaust fumes and report what they find back to the boss, the car's main computer.
And here is where it gets really clever. The first inspector, that's sensor 1, it sits before the converter, and it measures the raw, dirty exhaust. So its readings, they're going to be all over the place, fluctuating like crazy. The second inspector, sensor 2, sits after the converter. Now, in a healthy car, it's sniffing clean air, so its reading should be a nice, steady, flat line. The computer just compares the two signals. If that after signal starts looking like the choppy before signal, well, it knows there's a problem.
Okay, so we have our crime, the P0420 code, and we know how the system is supposed to work. Now it's time to do some detective work, line up the usual suspects, and figure out what actually went wrong.
So what's the magic number? It's 95%. You see, your car's computer is a really tough grader. It demands that the catalytic converter operate at 95% efficiency or higher. The moment its performance drops to, say, 94.9%, boom, that check engine light comes right on.
Now, almost everyone's first instinct is to blame the most expensive part, the converter itself. And look, a lot of the time, they're right. But it is a huge mistake to just assume it's the only possibility. It could be a faulty O2 sensor that's lying to the computer. It could be a simple exhaust leak. Or, even worse, it could be an engine problem that's actively poisoning your converter. That's why we always investigate first and replace last.
This, right here, this is the smoking gun. When the converter finally gives up, it just stops cleaning the exhaust. So all of a sudden, the after sample looks exactly like the before sample. If you look at it on a scanner, you'll see the downstream sensor's data start to mirror that chaotic, wavy pattern of the upstream one. When you see that, you've found your problem.
Okay, so now that we know what we're looking for, let's put together our diagnostic game plan. This is the step-by-step process that's going to help you find the true cause of the problem and, hopefully, save you from making a very expensive mistake.
The goal here is really simple. We're going to start with the cheap and easy stuff and work our way up. We're going to be methodical about this, ruling out the simple fixes first. Seriously? Don't even think about that $1,000 repair bill until we've checked off every other box on the list.
So here it is, our 5-step plan. Step 1, check for other codes. This is critical. If the computer is also screaming about an engine misfire, that's your real problem. You have to fix that first, or you'll just destroy a brand new converter. Step 2, use your eyes and ears. A simple exhaust leak can totally trick the sensors, so look and listen for any cracks or holes. Step 3, try a catalyst cleaner. For just a few bucks, this little additive can sometimes clear out carbon buildup, especially if you do a lot of city driving. Step 4 is when we get a little more technical. We test the O2 sensors themselves to make sure they aren't the ones lying. And then only after all of that, as our absolute last resort, do we move to Step 5, confirming the converters is in fact bad. And this is exactly what it looks like in the real world when you hook up a scan tool. Check out the good converter there on the left. See how that upstream sensor is jumping all over the place, but the downstream sensor below it is holding that nice, steady, flat line? That's perfect. Now look over at the bad converter on the right. The downstream sensor is totally mimicking the upstream one. It's become a mirror image. That right there is the visual proof that the converter has failed.
Okay, so we followed the clues, we found our culprit, now we can apply the right fix with total confidence, knowing we're not just throwing parts at the problem.
And you see, the solutions directly match our findings. If you found an exhaust leak, you patch it up. If a sensor failed its test, you replace that sensor. If you try the additive, just make sure you follow up with a good, hard drive on the highway to really let it work its magic. And only when every other possibility has been checked and eliminated do you finally pull the trigger on replacing the catalytic converter itself. And that leaves us with the single most important question you can ask through this whole process. Is the P0420 code the actual disease, or is it just a symptom of something else? Because listen, if your engine has an underlying issue, like it's misfiring or it's burning oil, it will absolutely murder a brand new $1,000 converter in a matter of weeks. So just remember this. A P0420 code isn't just a command to replace a part. It's an invitation from your car to investigate, to understand its overall health, and to fix the real problem.